Hello, and thank you very much for watching. This is on tithing, or the Lord's Lottery, I call it. The Bible says in Luke chapter 6 and verse 38, "Give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down and shaken together, and running over shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that you mete withal, it shall be measured to you again." And that's like a ratio. You can't outgive the Lord. There's just no way. And it's like, to me, it's like a lottery, because you don't know how much you're going to get back. You could get back small dividends or big dividends. And in the context of this verse, it says, "Given, it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down and shaken together." And the idea of that is like if you buy a box of cereal. You ever notice how light the box is? It's got a lot of air in the cereal. But have you ever bought a container of oatmeal? Oatmeal is a little bit heavy, and there's no air in there. All the grain, all the ground up oats are real tightly together, and there's no air in there. Different weights. The oatmeal is pressed down, but the cereals are just full of air. It's real lightweight. And that's what your dividends, your returns are going to be pressed down. It's not going to be light. It's going to be like concentrated. And so when you give to the Lord, you can expect dividends back. Now, as far as the tithe, technically the tithe is like a tenth. There's some different places in scriptures that mention this. I'll go to one in the book of Leviticus chapter 27 and verse 32. We'll start with verse 32. "And concerning the tithe of the herd or of the flock, even of whatsoever passeth under the rod, the tenth shall be holy unto the Lord." So this kind of like identifies what the tithe is. And so back in the Old Testament, like before the law, during the law, and even after the law, in the New Testament, you got tithing. Tithing's a concept that goes all the way through the scriptures, front to rear. Beginning of the Bible to the end of the Bible, you can find tithing. And so it's a good practice. As far as how much to give, to me, that's all a conscience issue. What I see, like in Proverbs chapter 3, it says, "Honor the Lord with thy," verse 9, "honor the Lord with thy substance and with the first fruits of all thine increase." And so I suggest that you tithe off your first fruits, your gross income. But that's totally up to you. It's a conscience issue. Some people, whatever they get as far as a profit on their paycheck after taxes are removed and all that, they tithe off that. What I did, I tithe off my gross. And then what I did, eventually, I started bumping up my tithe. I bumped it up to 11% and 12% and so forth. And then I had missions, amounts of money that I was given on the side for missions. And then I kept extra money in my wallet for special occasions. Like some of the churches I've been in, they had missionaries come through, and I always want to keep something tucked in the corner of my wallet. I usually had it folded up out of the way, and where I could keep it in my hand. Like if I shook a missionary's hand, I put the money in his hand when I shook his hand, or stuck it in his pocket or his Bible or something like that. So from the church point of view, the church itself actually supports missions too. So whenever you give your tithes to the church, usually the church is helping out missionaries as well. So your investments in tithing is a very, very good investment, because the church is doing so much money, so much with all that money. There's all kind of things that the church does with that money. So I think it's a great investment. I like to look at it like the lottery. I look at it as Wall Street, and I consider myself a money manager. And the way that you manage your money, you're like a financial officer, if you will. You're putting money in good investments And God can preserve you in a number of ways. God can actually extend the life of your car. He can extend the life of your home, the plumbing or electrical, or control the price of your food and control the price of your health. And there's just so many different wonderful ways that God can give you dividends on your investment. It might not be exactly coming back to you in dollars and cents. It might not be a pay raise. You'd be surprised. A lot of people get pay raises because they've been given to the Lord. God will increase. God will increase your assets, but you just can't be sure how God's going to do it to you. That part remains a mystery. But one thing for sure is that you can't outgive God. There's just no way. It's impossible. You can't outgive God, and you will have dividends, big time dividends. And then also, not to even get into this subject, but when you're investing spiritually, you're also possibly investing in crowns, like the pastor. That's what they call the crown of glory. It's a crown for feeding the flock. When the pastor feeds the flock, he's actually storing away a crown of glory in heaven. But the Bible also says, he that receiveth a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward. And so when you undergird your pastor with your offerings and tithe and all that, then you're actually investing in his ministry. And you're entitled to some of that in the future. And when you give money to your church and they're supporting missionaries or whatever, and that money's being used for like winning souls, there's a crown of rejoicing is a crown for winning souls to the Lord. And again, he that receiveth a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward. And so you're undergirding the spokesman for the Lord that is winning people to the Lord. And you're entitled to some of that as well in heaven. So the subject of giving money is it's a big subject. And I don't like to promote it from a legalistic viewpoint. I don't look at it that way. I don't tell somebody you better give to the Lord or the Lord's gonna give you a flat tire. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying it's a good investment. It's just a really good deal. Does God want us to do it? Yes, God wants us to do it. I don't want to see you miss a great opportunity. It's you get better dividends than the lottery or any other casino game or any other Wall Street investment or flipping houses or whatever. You can't outgive God. People that I know that have been big on giving to their local church, supported missions and things like that, the ones that I know have done real well. They've done real well. And I've known people that were just starting out and making minimum wage and really struggling, but they were tied into the local church, and they were even keeping some money on the side for missionaries and things like that. And they, in their own way, it's all about ratios. There's the story in the scriptures about the widow and her mite. She gave all that she owned, just a couple mites, whatever it was that she gave, and in God's eyes, she gave more than the rich people. It's all about ratios. It's not about how much dollar value. It's about how much are you sacrificing. That's the issue. So your tithe, your tithe. It might seem small to you, but it might be more than this guy that's got a lot of money that's not given a tithe. He's just throwing a little something in the plate. What he's throwing in the plate might be much more than you're throwing in the plate. But you know what? In God's eyes, you're outgiving him. It's all about sacrifice. It's all about ratios and that kind of thing. So this has been just a little brief presentation on tithing. Don't miss God's blessings. I think God will really bless you for doing it. So hope this has been a blessing to you. Thank you very much for watching.